Can you dig it, you sucker?
Hey, welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. They call him the GOAT. Hey man, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm good, Book. I'm good. I'm feeling pretty good. You know, it's today has been a real nice day. I feel like overall, right? I mean, it went by pretty fast. I've been looking forward to this. Looking forward to the Great American Bash Part 2 tonight. Looking forward to UFC 251. There's a lot of great things going on. What about you? How you feeling?
Hey man, there again. Got up early. Did my walk with my ankle weights on. With the weights in the hands. I hit the driving range, working on my game today, and I tell you, man, it's coming together. It's coming together. I'm
You did the range at your house or the range?
No, I went to the driving range.
Okay,
yeah. I'm gonna make that a regiment every day. I wouldn't say every day, but every chance I get to actually get out there and practice, opposed to just waking up and going right out on the course with my brother and hoping. Now you know how it is. You know how black folks are. We were wishing, that I hit it straight, but. I think now with this time off, I'm like, man, let me put in some real time on the course. I'm talking about from a real field perspective, ground on the ball, actually taking the strike opposed to hitting it to the net, opposed to being in the backyard just chipping. Let's go out here and really get serious about the game so I can try to break it, into the 70s before the summer's over with, man. I got to 80, 3 weeks ago. Last week I went out and played, and it was crazy. I got 7 pars and 2 birdies and still shot 10 over.
Well, you'll get it. You'll get it. This is going to be the summer of the 70s. I'm feeling it. You know what I mean? Even if it's 79 and a half. Yeah. If you got to give you a mully a couple times to get us there, I think that you'll get there.
Well, I'm taking a mulligan. I'm telling you, I'm taking a mulligan on the front and on the back. But yeah, man, my brother, he actually was pretty impressed the last time we were out. So he's resided to actually ever thinking about getting the trophy.
Oh, man. The thing is, people don't know. The brother Don, right? This is your older brother Don, who you play golf with. Don's the guy, though. Sometimes you might not think it because he's not jacked like you, Book, right?
No,
he's got more of a build like me, if anything, right? But sometimes he rears back there and you don't think that it's going to go. And then he hits it and that thing flies.
No, man, he's actually hit the ball just as far as I could hit it. But not lately. Lately, I'm close, man. I'm close to getting in the 300 club. I'm really close, man. If I could just stay focused, if I could just keep doing what I did today, like getting up, going out there and actually putting in the time. I mean, Timber Creek Golf Course. Let me give Timber Creek Golf Course a plug, man, right out here in Friendswood. Those guys, man, they have treated me right for so many years. I'm like a member. I'm like an honorary member at Timber Creek. And I want to thank all of those guys at Timber Creek for, sponsoring me, man, and trying to help me get my golf game a little bit better. And everybody that come through the course, man, I'm always Johnny on the spot. Everybody. I met a guy the other day. He was like, Booker T, man, let's get a photo. So it's all love, and I just want to thank everybody at Timber Creek Golf Course for putting me on, man, and making me a better player.
Yeah, man, it's a great course if y'all in the Friendswood, Pearland, Houston area. It's definitely a spot to hit up. And I want to shout out to Timber Creek. I want to shout out to everybody in the chat room right now. Send in those super chat donations if you want to ask a question live. And while we're at it, hit us up in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. We're in the great city of Houston, Texas, but let us know if you're watching around the world, what city, what state. Shout it out in the chat. We already have a super chat book early on from our favorite Aaron C. $5 said, Book, have you ever accidentally laughed live in a live promo?
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, I've actually laughed at a live promo. I remember doing a promo one time, it was when I was general manager, SmackDown and Raw, one of them, I don't remember which one I was general manager of.
I think it was SmackDown.
Yeah, but I came out and I was getting ready to deliver a promo, and I totally forgot the promo. So I started laughing and I looked at the crowd and I go, just bear with me. It's coming.
And this is when SmackDown was taped, right?
Yeah, it was taped. Yeah. And I ended up, delivering the promo. He finally came back and I delivered it, but I was like, man, that was crazy, you know. So, but I've laughed, you know, in the middle of a match, man. You know, like I always talk about, you know, wrestling guys like Christian, you know, and, you know, we might lock up and he tickle me, you know, or he tell me a joke, you know, in the lockup, you know, and I'm like, bro, you know what I mean? Let's get this match done. Or I'm trying to get out of there and he want to do 10 more spots and I got a flight to catch, you know what I mean, later on that night, you know, and I'm trying to get home or something like that. So the business has always been like that for me. You know, it's always been fun. It's always been one of those things to where I never really took it that serious. Only when I was performing, I took it serious, of course, because I want the crowd, I want to give them something. But for me, I was always able to go out there and have that feel of, you know, man, let's just go out here and have some fun, you know, because that's what it's supposed to be. If you got a job like professional wrestling and it's stressful, you know, you take it home with you, you wondering, you know, if you had a bad match or not, it could be a bad thing, you know. But if you just say, hey, man, like for instance, you know, for me, I would go out and have a bad match on Monday Night Raw, you know, and, you know, everybody knows Vince McMahon, you know, he doesn't like guys going out and have bad matches, you know, and you know if you had a bad match when you walk back through Gorilla, you know, and because he'll be sitting there, you know, with his glasses on, you know, not too much paying attention to you. he just been watching you on the monitor, but I would always come back through and I go, hey Vince, we'll get him next week. The thing is, I know when I had a crappy match, but it was something that I would never take home with me because it was fun. You know, even when I had a crappy match, you know, it was still, you know, a day off, you know, for me.
Well, you know, I mean, wrestling is entertainment. And I think in order to be entertaining, you have to have fun making fun. Somebody said that you know, about movies or something one time, and it just stuck with me. You got to have fun making fun. And, you know, sometimes it's going to be serious. Sometimes you're going to screw up. Sometimes it's going to be days on the job you rather forget, like you just said, like we'll get them next week. But at the end of the day, if you're having fun, that's always going to translate, right?
Definitely. For me, every guy that I went out there with, you know, it was some fun moments in pretty much every match. You know, I remember wrestling with Sting, and we used to do the thing where we used to hit the ropes really hard, and we would grab each other arms, we would spin in the air, boom, we would land flat. You know, and him and I both, we couldn't wait to wrestle each other just to do that one spot. You know
That's what you're looking forward to.
Yeah, seriously. You know, so I always had a lot of fun. You know, people talk about the infamous, you know, Booker T Bagwell match on Monday Night Raw from Tacoma, Washington. But, you know, I must say, man, Bagwell and Booker T, before that, man, we had so many good matches. We had so much fun in a lot of those matches as well. Win or lose, we was just out there having a lot of fun. You know, tackle, drop down, leapfrog, hip toss, get it again. It was one of those things, man. You know, so always had so much fun performing and, you know, just being inside the square circle, man. I watched these young guys go out there and do it today. And it seemed like it's a lot of stress involved. It seemed like they're really going out there and, you know, trying to remember, you know, what they're supposed to be doing opposed to just going out there and doing it. You know, for me, it was just, I talk about, you know, John Cena and, you know, Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet. It was about going out there and, you know, getting the encore. You know, bravo, you know, one of those type of things for me. And so it was always, you know, pushing myself to see exactly how much, you know, I can entertain, but having fun, you know, at the same time, so important.
You know, you bring up Sting. There was actually some match that y'all had on one of the, I think it may have been WCW Saturday Night or something. This is like Sting before the Crow Sting. And I think it was you and your brother working him and maybe Macho.
I think it was Macho Man. Yeah.
I think it was Macho.
Yeah.
And you know, I had never seen that from back in the day. And you just kind of forget how big Sting was at one point, right? Yeah. At one point, Sting was as big as any guy in the business, right?
Yeah. Sting was he was a top guy, man. No doubt. as far as star power goes. Sting was a major player. At that time, I don't think it was anybody in the business bigger than Sting. So for me, actually, to get the rub, to go out and work with someone like Sting as well as Mach, it was awesome because I knew exactly who I was when I was in there with those two guys, my brother and I. Those two guys, they were major players, man. They had done everything and had seen everything. I would say Mach had seen everything. Sting still had a little bit to go, but Sting had been groomed to be a top guy from the beginning. So for me to actually, have a night on Saturday night, just say for instance, WCW Saturday night, and it's Sting versus Booker T. I was like, wow, I knew I wasn't going to win that match, but
check was going to be the same though.
Yeah, exactly. It was a good night. Yeah. Hey man, we got to take a break, man. We got to take a quick break. We got a whole lot to talk about. Slammiversary, Extreme Rules, UFC 251. Stick around. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. We just doing it big, like we always do inside the Hall of Fame.
Again, I got to shout out everybody right now in the chat. People are lining us up right now, all over the world. We have Scotland in the house.
All over the world, people. All over the world, people. All over Scotland, people.
Baltimore's in the house.
Baltimore people in the house, y'all.
The BK all day. Brooklyn, New York in the house.
Brooklyn's in the house.
Stockton, California, Minnesota, Massachusetts, Boston, Beantown. I mean, they're coming in from everywhere. And also, Aaron C. just came with another $5 super chat. Shout out to you, Aaron. I wanted to ask you real quick, Book. Was The Undertaker a Rooney a work or for real? That was a real thing, right? Y'all surprised it on Taker.
No, that was a shoot, man. That was a straight up shoot, bro. As far as The Undertaker and the Spinneroonie. It was all on the fly, man. I remember being in the ring that night, and the referee buzzed me, you know what I mean? Get the Undertaker to do the Spinneroonie. And I go, well, what are you talking about? I can't do that. He goes, no, get him to get the Undertaker to do the Spinneroonie. And I'm like, bro, he goes, I'll go, okay.
That means Vince, right?
Yeah. So I go into my spiel to try to get the Undertaker to pull it off, to take a Rooney, man, the world famous take a Rooney. And he looks at me and he goes, no, I'm not doing it, And at one point on the video, you could actually see it. I think they showed that last ride or something.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he was in the last ride.
And he goes, Booker, I'm going to kill you. And I go, what does that mean? But when Vince McMahon came down and did his rendition of the Spinneroonie, man, that was icing on the cake right there for me for the Spinneroonie. The Undertaker didn't do it at the end of the day, which I didn't expect for the Undertaker to kill his gimmick or anything like that. One thing about the Undertaker, man, he's one of those guys, man, that believes in the gimmick all the way to the end. So I was wishing he would do it, but at no point in time did I ever think the Undertaker was ever going to do what we call the Taker-Rooney.
But you had some good ones, right? You had the Rock-a-Rooney, the McMahon-a-Rooney. Did Jericho? I think maybe Jericho is.
Jericho, I can't remember how many guys came out.
Jericho named the Spinneroonie.
Yeah, he named the Spinneroonie.
Yeah, he named it. That's what it was.
Yeah, but it was an epic night. We were off the air. We was an hour off the air trying to get the Undertaker to do the Spinneroonie, and that was one of those moments that only the fans get a chance to be a part of that right there. The television audience, they get a chance to relive it this many years later. But that's what the house shows. I wouldn't say house shows. That's what the shows was really all about back in the day for us, the wrestlers, to be in the ring an hour after the show has gone off the air, having fun with those fans. Those fans remember that for the rest of their life. They was a part of something. Just like in the Green Frog, those fans that got a chance to be a part of me and Stone Cold tearing that store up, that made those guys feel a certain way. And for wrestling back then, that's what wrestling truly was. It had a lot of times it had nothing to do with wrestling. It just had a whole lot to do with having a whole lot of fun and entertaining at the same time.
Yeah, it's always those, especially for me as a fan. I remember going to the Toyota Center, and it was after a Raw or something, or maybe it was a pay-per-view. I don't remember, but I remember it was during your King Booker run, and the main event was like Booker T in a dark match, but it was like Booker T versus Bobby Lashley versus Cena versus Edge or something like that. I mean, it was like a fatal four-way. And I remember someone telling me, this isn't being televised. This isn't being televised. And at the time, I didn't know what that meant. Like, I didn't know that y'all did matches after the show was over. And so you're right. Everybody in the crowd thought, man, we're seeing something that no one else is ever going to see in history. And it makes you feel like, man, that $20 or that $40 or $50, however much the ticket was, God, that was worth the price of admission.
Hey, man, I couldn't wait to get beat, man, when I was King Booker, when I was the champ. I couldn't wait to get beat because I would be somewhere on the show. I might be the main event of the show as well. I would be the advertised dark match as well. So I would be on, a lot of times I would be on the show 3 times in one night. And I tell you, man, after a year of doing that, I remember I was in the hallway and I was sitting on one of those big boxes, one of those big crates that WWE have for equipment and whatnot. And literally I was asleep. I was asleep sitting on the crate, and I had my robe on, the scepter and everything with me. And MVP, he comes up to me and taps me on the shoulder, and they say, hey, I wake up and he goes, Book, you okay? I goes, yeah. He goes, all right. And he walks off, and I go back to sleep. And that's how you talk about stress. It was a stressful run being King Booker, to have to go out and deliver every week. Man, 52 weeks out of the year, I had to go out and deliver. I tell you, at the end of that run, man, I couldn't wait to take that crown and scepter off, just because, man, it was, like I say, it was stressful to go out and deliver each and every time, try to hit a home run every time. Can you imagine how much pressure it would be if you had to hit a home run every time?
Right.
All your career was on the line,
I mean, it's like being, Altuve in the playoffs, or, whomever, like, waiting, knowing that everybody's watching you to give them the result that they want. Like, we need you to go out there and knock one over the fence, right? The center field fence. It's the same thing as being the champion. And, I've heard you talk about it. And I remember seeing something with Shawn Michaels when he came back after the 4-year layoff. And I think Vince came to him and said, we want to put the title on you. And he was like, nah, I'm all right. Like, I'm cool. I'm cool. I don't want all that work. I'll work co-main event. I don't need the main event slot.
Yeah, seriously, man. It's a lot of pressure, man, having to be that guy. Can you imagine, like Mariano Rivera, that's his name, right? For the Yankees, you have to come in and be the closer, man. That dude, man, so much pressure was on that dude for so long, but every time seemed like, almost every time, he would come out and, do his job. And like Ernie Ladd said back in the day, he did that job, and he did that job well, so big time, man. So yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like, bottom of the ninth in Yankee Stadium, game on the line, and you get the call from the manager, hey, I need 3 outs. That's all I need from you. And you're Mariano Rivera, who did it so well for so long, with all the fans in the arena looking at you. That's what I'm thinking about. The NBA is about to start back up, and all these guys are going to be. We hope. at the end of this month, and they can't see their families or anything for 3 or 4 months, however long the rest of the season is going to be. And I just wonder if the pressure is going to be the same with nobody watching. Well, I mean, people are going to be watching, but nobody watching live. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wonder if the pressure of the moment is the same. It can't be, right?
I think it would be, because it's like, just, I don't know if you ever played a pickup game at the park.
Yeah.
You know, you want to win.
Yeah, no one's watching, but
no one's watching. You ain't playing for no money, but you want to win every time. You know what I mean? You don't want to be the guy that's going, you know, who got next. You know what I mean? You want to be the team, and somebody playing, you know, your team, you know, and somebody else over there got next. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, nah, man, I think the pressure is going to be on these guys to have to go out there and perform at the same. I think that's just something that's in the individual athlete as well, as far as those guys want to go out there and just play hard and deliver. So now I don't see any slackers being a part of the game, even, you know, in the situation that they're going to be in the bubble down there.
Could you do that though? Could you be in the bubble? Could you like live in there? I mean, they've got a lot of great amenities, and I even heard. Have you heard they have this bubble ring? Have you heard about this?
Yeah, where it could detect whether you got the COVID or not,
like a couple days before symptoms or something.
Yeah.
Well, could you live in the bubble?
If they paid me enough money, I'd live on the move.
Well, that answers that question.
I'm serious, man. You know, so these guys get paid, you know, to take care of them. It's all about being the breadwinner. And sometimes when you're the breadwinner in the family, man, you're willing to do whatever it takes to take care of your family. And I realize that, you know, having kids now, I can honestly say, once upon a time in my life, if I was in that situation that these guys are in, I'll be like, man, I'm good. I'm not doing that. But when you know you got a family, it might be enough money there for you. You know what I mean? But for when you got a family, you're not just thinking about, you know, the kids. You're thinking about the grandkids. You're thinking about the legacy of the family. So if it's some money there that you can make for them, that's what you go do. And I see all of these guys, man, getting up, stepping up, going out there, you know, wanting to go out there and play the game. My thing is it going to be the same for the fan watching the game? Are we going to tune in and watch it like we normally would? I don't know. I don't think so. Is the game that important, you know, to, you know, I don't know, to the industry that, you know, it must go on? And I understand this money, you know, it's money being lost daily. Every day these guys don't play, it's money being lost. These guys got television contracts that the NBA had to live up to as well. You know, so I can understand there's so much involved. I was just reading earlier today, United is going to be laying off, you know, so many people.
30,000 employees, I think is what they said.
They're going to be flying only 20% of the force, the planes this year. And that right there, man, a lot of guys going to lose their job. Early retirement. So I understand. I get it. Hey, guys, stick around. We got a whole lot more for you. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. We back. Just talking about a little bit of, you know, the industry, what's going on in the wrestling biz. And the thing is, man, it's getting hot. It's getting real hot. I know it's summertime, but talk about it for a second, man. Slammiversary 2020. These guys, I said, you know, Impact Wrestling may be back in the wrestling business. And the thing is, I'm just wondering, you know, I think last week or so, maybe a week before that, I was reading Impact had their best rating ever.
Wow, I didn't hear that.
Best rating they had in a long time.
Maybe on this.
Or maybe best rating for Impact. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Before it's TNA. You know what I mean? That says a little bit that say people are interested in Impact Wrestling again. It seems like people want to see the company actually make it. But my thing is, I question their tactics as far as a lot of these teasers they've been doing as of late. They tease that, guys like Kurt Angle is going to be coming back. Tease Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, EC3, Eric Young. In the latest video, they tease James Storm, Bully Ray, who just left ROH contract, just expired, Chris Sabin, Kurt Hawkins, Sugar Shane Helms, Gail Kim, Velvet Sky, Angelina Love, Maria, and Mike Canales. Now, I know they haven't picked up all of these guys.
No way.
No, I know that. So do you think it's, almost like clickbait to try to get people to, watch, so let's throw these guys' name out. Let's use these guys' names because we've, have they been here before. Let's use these guys' name and hopefully somebody will tune in to the show and watch, hoping that they're going to see one of these guys like Kurt Angle, Luke Gallows, EC3, and the list goes on. What do you think, man? You think that's a good tactic or not? As well as the listeners, what do you guys think?
Yeah. Let us know in the chat if you think that's a good idea. I think that the creating that feeling of I don't know what to expect as a wrestling fan has always been great. That's why I think so many of us tuned into the Monday Night Wars back in the day, is we didn't know what was going to happen, but we knew something was going to happen. Somebody's going to show up. And when Rick Rude shows up on Nitro and he shaved the mustache, oh my God, Rick Rude just showed up on Nitro. So I think that if they're teasing these guys, it's not terrible, right? Because it's making me, and I'm intrigued now. I want to watch the show. I want to see who shows up. I don't think all those guys are going to be there, but it'd be fun to see who the surprises are going to be. I remember back in the day, SmackDown was running local promos saying, we've signed this 7-foot-tall giant to the SmackDown. Tune in Friday night to see who it is. And it was Hulk Hogan in a luchador mask, but I was still excited to see it. They got me. They got me invested. So for Impact, I think that this is a good idea because right now they're trying to break through the noise. You have WWE, who's always going to be the top dog. You have AEW, who's clearly the number 2 right now. They're trying to find their spot. And I think that right now, with having people like Kylie Ray, Kiera Hogan on the payroll, who are real great workers, and they bring something to the show, and then having some names that bring familiarity, it's really why Impact wanted to sign a guy like Jericho and put the title on Jericho, because you want to bring in some name recognition to the brand to bring that fan over. And so I'm down for it. I like it.
Hey, man, I'm not saying that it's not the worst idea in the world or anything like that. But for me, I'm not looking for shock TV. I'm looking at, I'm looking to go ahead and putting a show together where fans are gonna tune in and say, hey man, it's pretty good. That's all they gotta say. They ain't gotta say, man, TNA man, or Impact Wrestling is the greatest thing since sliced bread. All they gotta say is, man, Impact Wrestling, man, they've got pretty good lately. They're looking good, man. Man, you see such and such. Did you see such and such match with such and such? That's all they got to do for those guys to be looked at as, contenders again in this war of professional wrestling. But I just don't agree. I say if you're going to pull the trigger, pull it, sign the guys. Even if you don't sign the guys, full time. If you're just bringing them in, sign them for this one pay-per-view. Sign them, advertise them, get the fans excited. What they watch that show, it's a good show. The ratings start moving, the money start rolling in, and hopefully we can sign these guys to somewhat of a long-term deal, not that 3-month deal they were trying to sign me to before I left TNA. It's something like that to work. Like I said, it's great talent out there, like guys like Rusev, who will make a huge difference to somebody's roster. So I say if they're going to pull the trigger, don't be messing around with the fans, putting the cheese out there, just looking for them to bite the cheese. But then all of a sudden, the rat don't know it's a rat trap there to to break them off a little something. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they'll do that. That's the way I see it.
I'm still with you. I know we talked about it a couple weeks ago, but Rusev is a guy who needs to be under contract with some company because, to me, that's a guy I could build a company around. Do you know what I mean? Like the dominating, bring him in as a heel. I could see him like a Brock Lesnar-esque type individual, right? Or an Umaga-esque type kind of guy. Someone who can go in there. He's the big, mean, nasty, powerful, unstoppable heel, and you could really do a great run. You know, TNA, when they had Bobby there, they kind of made Bobby that for a minute, right? Bobby was the unbeatable world champion heel guy. And I think that Rusev could fill that position, maybe for Impact. I think that'd be a great landing spot for him. And I really think that, I think his name is Miro, I believe now. Yeah. I think that wherever he ends up, Miro/Rusev, that company is going to really benefit from a guy like him.
Well, I think Rusev, if you've seen him lately, he's gotten himself in some great shape too. Seems like this little time off, man, has done a lot of these guys a lot of good. This one thing about the business, there are no off seasons or anything like that. These guys really never, ever get a chance to have downtime like they're having right now. I'm sure they're wondering what's going on with their bodies because they feel good. So I say, man, I say all of those guys out there, man, definitely, hopefully they'll find a spot. Hopefully Impact be a launching pad, back to, something bigger and better. But there again, if they do the right things at Impact, man, they can make that company really, really mean something. And I say that because I remember going to England, and we had 2 shows over there in the same arena, back-to-back nights. And I worked Rhino. And before Rhino and I had even tied up that night, we walked around the ring a little bit, and we, looked at each other. We looked at the fans, and next thing you know, the fans started going, Booker T, Rhino, Booker T, Rhino, Booker T, Rhino. And Rhino and I, we looked at each other, and we go, don't do anything. just let them keep going for a second. And I remember we had such an awesome match that night. And then, I don't know, we may have had only maybe 5,000 people in the arena. But then we came back to the next night, and we had 5,000 people in the arena again. And I was really, really hyped up. I was really, on a cloud as far as, man, this company, man, could really, really be something. If they, like I said, just Monday night, if everybody played their job, you know what I mean? Don't try to do nobody else's job. Just do your job. Do that job to the best of your ability. And hopefully we'll have a great show at the end of the night. I just don't think they had the right people in play. I don't know if the eyes were just totally not on the prize. I'm not going to sit here and judge, is what I'm trying to say, as far as why that company didn't do well back then. I know Dixie Carter. I must say Dixie Carter really, 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 really tried to do a good thing, for the business, as far as trying to, put guys in certain places, make sure wrestlers got a job and whatnot. But when you got a business, you got to make sure you got the right pieces in place in order for the business to be successful. And I say that because I got a small little company here in Houston, Texas, called Reality of Wrestling. And but I know I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I'm going to make sure I surround myself with a bunch of men and women that know exactly what their job and task at hand is. And hopefully if everyone do their job, we'll come together and make a great show. And even as far as the show goes, I don't have all the greatest ideas. So, hey guys, let's network. Let's put our minds together and let's come up with some great ideas. A lot of my young guys, they come up with a lot of the best ideas. They come up with a lot of crappy ideas too. You got to know how to, you got to know how to filter, those ideas and make sure you use the ones that are good, and the ones that aren't good. Hey man, we don't want to go that route. And you need somebody in place to actually be able to say, hey, no, we don't want to go that route for a certain reason. So I feel like hopefully, if that company can get the right people in the right places, it could definitely flourish. It could definitely be a feeding ground for a lot of up and coming talent, as well as talent that's out there already that's just looking for, like you said a minute ago, a place to land. Hey guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. We just rolling down 45. Well, we ain't rolling down 45. We at home. We at home.
Still at home.
We ain't doing nothing, man.
We ain't going anywhere.
We ain't going nowhere, man. We locked down, man, for a minute. The city is definitely still on fire. Please, wear your mask. Make sure you sanitize and make sure you social distancing, man. It's Houston. We the greatest city, in the United States of America. That's the way I feel. And we got to step up and do our part in order to bend this curve. And, because we ready to get back out there, man. We ready to get back out there. I'm ready to get back out in the bars. I'm ready to get out there and party, just like everybody else. But it ain't going to happen unless everybody there again do their job. If everybody do their job, at the end of the day, boom, everybody's happy. Right?
Work as one. Work as one. Think singularly, act collectively, and we'll get over this thing. I was wishing by now we'd already be back at the restaurants because I'm missing some sushi time. You know what I mean? Because sushi just doesn't taste right delivered. It doesn't taste right in the boxes.
I can't wait to get back out there, man. I miss just going out and having fun, just being out there, being around people.
Yeah,
it's totally different. This world that we're living in right now, and most of the country is still on fire with this coronavirus, and there again, man, I got to refer to you, man, and the young people. That's your deal. I need you to do your part, man, and tell them suckers to stay at home, man. I've been hearing about young people. I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe you can hit me on to it. Maybe you can make me understand, but I've been hearing young people have been going out having coronavirus parties just so they can actually get it. Is that true?
Yeah,
do you know any of those people?
I don't know anybody that stupid. I try not to surround myself with anybody like that, but there have been. I've heard about it. I think University of Alabama, some people on campus, who are students at University of Alabama, they're trying to do COVID parties or catch the COVID party, and I can't even tell you why. I can't even begin to comprehend it unless their thing is, well, we're young, so if we get it, then we'll get antibodies and we can go party again. I don't know what the thinking is, but it's a flawed sense of direction from these young folks. It makes me think, what are they teaching in the universities? You can't, I love the great state of Alabama. There are a lot of great people there, a lot of great food. Shout out to Big Bob Gibson. That's the greatest barbecue place in the world. But you can't be thinking that this is the right path to take.
It's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. Khabib Nurmagomedov's dad passed away for coronavirus. I want to send my thoughts and condolences out to him and his family, man. And I know how close those two guys were, man. It seemed like they were literally like this. Khabib credits his dad for all of his success. And I can only imagine, dream, wish that I had, a dad that I could, say, man, it's all about you, man. So I can understand, how he feels, man. I totally can understand how he feels.
Yeah. I can't even imagine going through something like that. And it's just once again another reminder of just like do your part. It's not that hard.
Do your job.
It's not that hard. Do your job.
Do your job. Yeah. WWE news, man. Go ahead. Yeah,
no, you're actually about to transition into some WWE news. Go ahead.
WWE news, man. Breaking news, actually. Today, Matt Riddle, he broke his silence as far as the Speak Out movement goes. With the female Candy Cartwright, whatnot, going back and forth. Matt Riddle said, man, I had an affair. Actually, I don't know if you saw the video, but he actually came out and admitted that, yeah, I had an affair. I was wrong. I cheated on my wife, and I feel like a butthole about it. I don't feel good at all about what I did, and now having to talk about it, I really don't. It's not something that I want to share. I totally can understand that, and him coming out and making that statement. I appreciate that too. The female, Candy Cartwright, she posted a photo actually of Matt Riddle and her kissing. And the thing is, I just don't think that helped her cause at all as far as her being a part. And the thing is, I don't want this speak out movement because, like I said, I got a lot of young women that have come through my school, a lot of young ladies that have come to my school that I, like I say, try to make sure I put on the right path. And some of these issues that they've dealt with. I don't want this to be some kind of card somebody can pull just to ruin somebody's career. There again, the photo that she posted was those two kissing. Now that proves that they did have an affair. That doesn't prove anything else. So there again, for her to post that picture, it just makes me question and make me wonder. So there again, Matt Riddle came out and spoke about it. And I'm not going to sit here and take sides or anything like that.
Right.
But there again, person should be innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, and I saw some of the tweets from Matt, and I know that he posted a video, and his lawyer even posted a statement about it. And the thing is, when you get into these, a lot of these things are he said, she said kind of situations, and admitting that you have an affair is that's a pretty embarrassing thing to have to come out and say. And it sucks. And you have to, you can only imagine what he's going through right now with his, wife and kids. And it's not for us to even comment on that, but I know that home life can't be the easiest right now. And for him, you just debut on SmackDown and you have this thing going on at the same time. It's got to be a really bittersweet feeling for him. And, it's so easy nowadays, Book, for the court of public opinion to convict somebody before evidence has even been seen.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine what a lot of these people who are, some people, hey, it's 100% true. This happened. This guy's a creep. This girl's a creep, whatever. It's true. Some of them it's not. And it's hard when they're all coming out at the same time. You tend to conflate. Like I remember when the Me Too stuff popped off, I can't remember which ones were real, which ones weren't now. I don't remember all the details of everybody. You just remember certain names being accused, and sometimes that's enough. Yeah. And I'm not questioning anybody's motivation, but sometimes when you hear, okay, they're in an affair, I don't know, maybe there's some other motivations going on here rather than just I'm speaking out. Maybe it's I'm speaking out for a specific goal in mind to damage somebody's reputation or what have you. I'm not saying that that's the case, but it does make you question it when you see a picture like that. You know what I mean? When you see, that was the response to this is you're posting a picture of y'all two kissing. Well, if you have that picture to me, and I look, I don't know any details. I'm just going off the top of my head here. But if I see that picture, I'm thinking, well, then that looks consensual. Yeah, if you have a picture together, that would be a consensual relationship. It might be extramarital, and that's wrong. But, maybe nothing worse than that.
I look back at Enzo Amore, who was fired due to a certain situation similar to this one right here, and then was totally exonerated after the fact. No doubt, Enzo Amore probably was going to get fired somewhere down the line. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? But for him to actually get fired due to that reason, it's wrong.
Yeah, something was going to get him. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying.
Something was going to get him.
I'm just saying.
But you also have to credit a company like WWE who they've let go of some talents from the NXT UK brand. And they've been doing their due diligence. And they say there's a zero tolerance policy if they find allegations to be credible. And that's all you can ask from a company is they're saying, hey, we're definitely going to take everything seriously. We're going to look into it. And if we find evidence, you're gone. I don't care who you are. No one's untouchable. Definitely. But to me, the fact that Matt's still around and seems to be in a good position means there's more to the story than we know at this time.
Let me tell you something. You know how many guys in the business that had affairs?
I would venture a guess to say there's quite a few.
The percentage is very high. You know what I mean? So
Doesn't make it right.
It doesn't make it right or anything, but you can't shun upon, someone who have, mixed emotions in their relationships and whatnot. People have family problems all the time. Husband and wife, go through divorce on a daily basis, hourly. I'm talking about literally on the clock by the minute. That death do us part. That don't believe that. Okay, and for us, because trust me, I got an ex-wife. You know what I mean? And when she left here,
you say that real proud.
No, I'm proud. I say, here, take this half and get the hell out of here. Don't hit you with a good Lord split you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel liberated. After a situation like that, me and that ex-woman, man, I'm serious. I saw a brother in the airport one day, and I didn't even ask about it. That was about 10 years later. Hey, guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame. What, man?
I'm still laughing at you. Hey, a serious question.
What?
Just in general, I've always wondered this. If you see somebody who used to be with for a long period of time or a serious relationship or something, you see them years down the road. Do you want them to look great or do you want them to look awful? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you want to say, hey, if they see my ex-wife, she's looking great. Hey, yeah, man, I'm Booker T. I'm the real deal. Or do you want her to look awful and be like, there's a reason I stepped away?
It's according to, the way you broke up.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember, I guess about 5 months ago, I was on the airplane, and literally the girl that I thought I was going to marry back in the day, we broke up, whatnot. Never just didn't work out. She got on the plane, and I was sitting in front row, and she got on the plane, and I could tell she looked at me, and her eyes literally, I got like that big, and I looked at her, and I was like, because she still looked exactly the same, looked like exactly the same person, and she said, "Oh, this is my husband," And I go, hey, how you doing? Booker T, whatnot, whatnot. And then I didn't see her anymore after that, but she looked the same, and it was definitely weird, man. It was a weird feeling, man. But I saw one of my ex-girlfriends on the plane one other time, and I must say, man, she looked like she had been cooking. Let's just say that. I'm gonna just say I ain't gonna say nothing else. But it looked like she had been in the kitchen. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness!
I don't know how good a cook she was, but she definitely been doing a lot of baking.
she Oh man. Hey, I wanted to ask you though. Speaking of old loves, you were the United States champion for a while in WCW, and then when you brought the title to WWE.
Double champ.
You were United States champion there as well. You had another run. WWE actually put up a poll today of who was the greatest United States champion. You were one of the people in the poll, or they put up a bunch of pictures, not a poll, a bunch of pictures. Who was the greatest United States champion? And you were one of the names mentioned. And by the way, Bret Hart was mentioned, and I don't remember him winning the United States Championship in WWE. And then I went and looked it up, and he won it for a night from The Miz on Raw.
Why would he be? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was like, well, I don't know why you'd include, like, Bret should be included in many conversations as the greatest WWE United States champion. You had it for like a day and then vacate. It doesn't matter. But they said that because they just debuted the brand new United States Championship. MVP helped unveil it on Monday night. And I got to say, Book, I think it's a beautiful, beautiful championship. I'm gonna pull up a picture here of the title. I think it's right here.
You know, a lot of
Look
people,
at that thing.
That
thing is pretty.
A lot of people have been hating on that championship, but I think it's a really, really good looking title, man. I mean, I would be proud of that championship if we had that at Reality of Wrestling. I would really be proud of it. So I don't know what people are thinking as far as that go. MVP talking about he, was the greatest United States champion of all time. That sucker must don't know. I was 4-time United States champion, 4 times. You know what I mean? So that's close to 5. So I would not consider myself as the greatest United States champion, whoever would have been. I don't know who would wear that mantle. Really, I don't. Just because, man, that's up for debate.
There's been some good ones. I think if you talk WWE, I think Cena's got to be in that conversation, right? Because he elevated that title when he won it the second time after he was world champion. Remember, he started the U.S. Open Challenge on Raw. And he was giving a lot of young guys opportunities to wrestle Cena on Monday Night Raw. That's the first time we saw Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn or a lot of these guys on Monday Night Raw. So I think that I put him high up there. I don't know if he's number 1, but he's in the convo. You're in the convo. Envy's in the convo. Envy is in the combo. He had a great run with it, but I don't know if he's the number 1 guy. But doesn't this title remind you a little bit of the WCW version, like the shape of it?
Well, it still got a little remnants of WCW. It still have a little bit of a feel of WCW. And the thing is, I'm sure they wanted to have their own branding on that championship, and that's probably the reason why they did that. But I must say, it's their company, it's their belt, it's their right to do whatever the hell they want to do with it. But I think it's a good looking title. And like I say, there again, I would be proud to wear it.
Were you, so, as a wrestling fan, one of the things that I've always loved is the championship. I've always loved when they debut a new one. I'm always into that. Were you ever big on titles? Was that something that, I know not winning them, but were you like a fan of the way championships looked? In other words, there's a contingent on the online called belt marks. Like, you just love how the titles look. Was that something that you ever thought about? Probably not, huh?
Not something I ever thought about as far as the championship, what it looked like. It just never really been my thing. I've never been a mark for myself or anything like that. As far as, man, can't wait to get home and hold it. You know what I mean? I'm going to sleep with this title tonight. You know what I mean? Man, that one over there looks really... That's just never been my thing, man. The title and the championship is 2 different things. And I always try to make people understand that for me, the championship was just prop. The title being champion, that's something totally different. For me, I relish being the champion. I relish being the guy that was the front man for the company. The guy that was, the go-to guy. Hey, man, we need to score a touchdown. This is who we need to go with. That is the title. So for me, that meant so much more to me than any of the belts that I've ever held. Right now, still to this day, I don't have all of the championships. I got replicas of a few of them, but I don't have all the championships that I wore. I don't even have the U.S. title. I don't even have the television championship, which I'm gonna get a replica of because I feel like as far as WCW television champions, I do feel like I was the greatest WCW television champion of all time. So that's one belt that really, I would say that's the one belt that means a whole lot to me. That belt, that look of it and everything, that meant a whole lot to me.
I would also think, because I remember when they did Night of Champions a few years ago, they did the poll of the greatest world champion of all time, and you were voted the greatest world champion, world heavyweight champion of all time. And when you think of the world heavyweight title, you think of big gold, the WCW championship. I think at one point that was even the NWA championship, that same design. And I'm sure for you, though, when you won that one and it had the bend in the top, I'm sure that when you saw that, you had to think of Flair and Dusty and those guys, right? Just the look of the belt probably meant something. It carried its own weight. That image, you think of so many of the great guys when you held that, I'm sure.
No, man, that title meant a lot, man. The championship, that belt, carrying that belt, it meant a whole lot to me as far as my career goes. And as far as the being voted, best heavyweight best heavyweight champion. That there again, that's the title. That title right there. That means a whole lot, especially being voted that by the fans, knowing that, guys like Ric Flair, guys like Dusty, like you just said, guys that wore that belt. And then for fans to think that way of me, of course, the millennials, the young people of this generation, they say, man, that's our guy. So I appreciate, that recognition right there because, that validation, it really means, the world. A lot of times, people don't say it. They don't, a lot of times, yeah, it's this, is that. But when someone acknowledge something that you've done and say, hey, man, he was the guy, it feels a certain way. It's just like going into the Hall of Fame. People can say, it's a fictitious Hall of Fame, but I'm gonna tell you, when the fans, pay homage to you and then you get a chance to go back and perhaps only do it once. I did it twice, to thank the fans, for that ride. Man, that means so much to so many, because so many of us did not get a chance to actually, get a chance to do that.
Yeah, and to me, honestly, though, maybe you disagree, but if there's any real title or championship or award given out in wrestling, it's the Hall of Fame, right? I mean, that's the ultimate recognition. That's not based on, oh, we think it'd be a good look to give Booker the title tonight, or hey, Book, so-and-so didn't bring his gear. You're going to go over for the television title tonight. It's nothing like that. This is like people in a room saying, hey, Booker T, he did a credit to this business, and he deserves to be recognized for his contribution. To me, that's the realest award that you can get.
For me, it is. For me to actually, they say, hey, Book, we're gonna put you in the Hall of Fame. I'm like, wow, I mean, and then I go back and I look at my my stats and what I put in. I go, I guess I'm worthy of being a Hall of Famer. And then they come back a few years later and say, hey, Book, we're gonna put you in the Hall of Fame. Wait a minute, I'm in already. And they go, no, as a tag team wrestler. And I'm like, well, my brother and I, we never worked in WWE, but to be recognized still as, one of the greatest tag teams that ever did it, one of the greatest tag teams that ever put on a pair of boots. Man, for two guys that never worked in that company to be recognized in that company, it meant so much. And for me to actually go in 2 times with some of the great names in this business, only 3 other besides myself, that right there told me, hey, man, you did a hell of a job. You're awesome. So, hey, man, we got a whole lot more, man. We got a whole lot more for you. Definitely got to glaze over the Extreme Rules eye for an eye match, Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins. Be back in a minute. Stick around. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. We definitely got to talk about it. Extreme Rules present the horror show, our horror show.
At Extreme Rules.
At Extreme Rules. Make sure I get that right. Some people might be listening. An eye for an eye match. We got to talk about that first, man. Eye for an eye. Seth Rollins versus Rey Mysterio. I've never seen a match like this before. I heard Samoa Joe pontificate on the eye for an eye match, and he was definitely was doing his work. He definitely was trying to fill some time and make this thing, feel like it's going to be something totally different. I don't know I'm trying to figure out how we're going to get here. You know what I mean? Is it going to be bloods and gore? The change of the name of the pay-per-view as far as the horror show, that tells me this is going to be grim. It's going to be, it's going to be a horror show. Talk to me about this thing, man. Talk to me about the eye for an eye match and what you think. What do you think we're going with this match first and foremost?
Well, I mean, they did confirm, or at least Ryan Satin over there at Pro Wrestling Sheet said that he was able to confirm that you literally win the match by removing the other competitor's eye or something to that extent. And here's the thing. Wrestling has always had interesting stipulation matches. I can go back to the dog kennel from hell match. I had no idea what that was going to be between Al Snow and Big Boss Man. It happened, though. A San Francisco 49ers match, still exactly unclear what that was, but it happened.
And I was in it.
Right.
And I don't know what it was.
But then you hear matches like, I remember being a kid, it was probably 99 or something like that, and hearing about the Inferno match. And the only way to win is by setting your opponent on fire.
Well, those kind of matches happen in Japan all the time.
Well, but at the time, I didn't know about these things, right? So when I'm a kid, I'm like, how are you going to set somebody on fire? How are you going to do that? And then when you see it happen, you're like, oh, okay, well, that kind of makes sense, right? Yeah. So I have no idea how they're going to do the eye for an eye thing. I'm sure Seth and Ray are probably on the Twitter with one another, DMing saying, hey, brother, you got any ideas of how we're going to get to this finish? You know what I mean? Because I remember one time, I can't remember what the stipulation was. We had some stipulation match at Reality of Wrestling. I don't remember what exactly it was, but I do remember one of the guys coming up to, or the two of them coming up to me. It was like a strap match or something. I can't remember, but I remember them coming up to me and going, hey, do you have any ideas of how we're going to do this? And I'm like, brother, I'm the last person you need to be asking. Go talk to the man himself.
Figure it out.
You'll figure something out. I know that you've been tasked with stipulations before. I'm sure when they came to you and said, hey, we're doing an elimination chamber. 4 of y'all going to be locked in pods. You're going to come out every couple minutes, and y'all got to make this thing entertaining. I'm sure you were like, how the hell are we going to do this?
No, I wouldn't. I was thinking about, not getting hurt. I was thinking about how much, how less time I could do in this match. I was trying to figure out a way, how can I hide in plain sight? You know what I mean? I'm serious. I never was a proponent of those kind of matches, man. I never looked forward to, gimmick matches.
Right.
One thing that Vince Russo, when he came into WCW, he was the master of the gimmick match. Every match was a gimmick match. Everybody had a gimmick. It was just craziness going on. I was always that guy that could go out and perform inside the square circle. That's what I was best at. So a match like this, eye for an eye match, it sounds like some pain has to be involved. Okay. And normally when there's some pain involved, there's a roadmap to actually getting to that pain. And so that's what I'm trying to figure out, what roadmap are these guys going to take to actually, take this thing to another level. We're coming off of the greatest match in the history of the business. And now we got another match with the title on it that two guys got to go out there and live up to it. No doubt Seth Rollins has been putting in some of his best work as of late. Rey Mysterio, I don't know how old Rey Mysterio is, man, but Rey's still moving like a spring chicken in there, man. The guy seemed like he got a few years left. It just said like that. It seemed like his bump card is not fully punched yet. So those guys, I think they can go out there and pull it off. I'm just trying to figure out how, like everybody else in the world right now that watches WWE, is trying to figure out how are they going to pull this one off.
It's got to be cinematic, right? Like this would be one that you got to do cinematic style, almost like Boneyard style, where you knew they were going to get buried at some point. So, maybe we shoot it like a movie. I think that they're doing another match on there, like the Wyatt Swamp match or something like that. So maybe there's going to be a couple of cinematic matches. And I think that's the only way you can pull off the eye thing. You know what I mean? I don't know any other way where you could literally pull somebody's eye out, in the center of the squared circle. There's got to be a camera cut somewhere.
It's got to be something, you know what I mean? Especially when the eye comes out, with all of this, the long stream on it, you got all kind of stuff that's behind the retinal and all that got stuff attached to it. I want to see the damn. I want to see the eye come out. In order to make this thing right, it's got to be gory. It's got to be something horrific. It's got to be something that make you cringe when you watch it. You know, that's going totally away from PG. So I'm looking forward to seeing it.
You and I were just talking about, I don't know if it was on air or off air, but Brutus Beefcake put this thing up about this accident that he had 30 years ago, where it was a parasailing accident and he took 2 knees to the face. It crushed his face in completely, right? Yeah. And he had something like 100 feet of titanium put in his face and 10 plates, 30 screws, like a bunch, right? Yeah. And Hogan came and visited him in the hospital because, they're boys. And Hogan said, hey, man, you can't lay in bed all day. You got to get up, get moving, get back to it. So let's take a little walk around the hospital. So Beefcake said, yeah, let's do it. They start walking around. Beefcake sneezes and his eye pops out completely and is hanging by his cheek. And Hogan tried to no-sell it and said, hey, brother, I think you need to lay down.
And take a nap.
You know what I mean? This might not be a good idea. But that maybe they could do something like that. Maybe one guy sneezes and the eye comes out, and they ring the bell.
I don't know what they're gonna do, man. But it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be horrific. It's gonna be a horror show. Let's just say that. One match I'm looking forward to is for that United States Championship. MVP versus Paulo Cruz. Paulo. This is his moment, I think. This is Apollo's perhaps one shot to go out and perform at the highest level that he possibly can go out there and perform at. He's on pay-per-view. We haven't seen Apollo on pay-per-view in quite some time, if ever. Have we?
Maybe a kickoff show. I can't remember anything.
Exactly.
No memorable pay-per-view match.
Exactly. This is Apollo's ticket, to be able to go out there and show the world exactly what he can do. I've watched Apollo perform, and there again, this guy could work. He could work his behind off. He can do anything inside the square circle. But I hope and I wish that Apollo bring his performance to the horror show and go out there and perform at a very high level with a guy like MVP. This is what I call for Apollo a test. This is the biggest test this kid is going to ever have in his career, and it's going to be whether he go out there and pass the test. And you got to wonder if he studied for this test, and you got to wonder if he knows what the test is. First and foremost, that's what I talk to my students about all the time. That every waking moment in this business, when you're in the ring, if you're not looking at it like it's a test, you're looking at it the wrong way. So hopefully Apollo has his eye on the prize and know what the performance really is and truly is going to mean in a match like this on pay-per-view, because house shows, throw them out the window. Overseas tours, throw them out of the window. Monday night, Tuesday night, throw them out of the window. Pay-per-view is where you got to go out there and really put in that work. And you can't hide. There's no camouflaging. There's no, way you can cover it. You got to go out there and do it inside the ring. So hopefully Apollo is going to step up to the plate and go out there and shock and amaze. This guy was so over on the independent scene. People couldn't wait for him to get to WWE. So
Nation.
Exactly. Hopefully the kid can go out there and pull off the best match of his career. Hey guys, stick around. We got a whole lot more Hall of Fame for you back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. Talking WWE Extreme Rules Horror Show. Horror Show to Extreme Rules. Was that it, right?
I think it's the horror show at Extreme Rules.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. That's it. I'm
You
trying
know,
to
you were right about Apollo, and the thing is, you talk about the test, right? And I remember, you know, even in high school, right? In high school, you could go into a history class, and you might be able to figure your way through the test. You know, multiple choice, do a process of elimination. You might not have to study all that much. It's a lower grade of information. But the difference between the test in high school and the test in college is completely different. If you don't study, you're absolutely going to fail. There's no way you can fake your way through that. And I think for Apollo, you talked about how big he was on the Indies. The Indies is in some ways, it's like high school. You can kind of figure your way through it sometimes and pass the test on that level. But to go into a championship match on a WWE pay-per-view and a highly promoted and touted pay-per-view match and do it with a guy like MVP. MVP is going to be the guy he's not going to let you not study. If you go in there and you try to wing it with MVP, he might have some choice words for you after the match, right? Or he might have some choice shots for you during the match to get you caught up to speed. You know what I mean? And I think that Envy is doing, this is my opinion, the best work that I've seen him do in a long time. I think that this run for MVP as a talent, not only on the mic, because he cut a promo with Cedric Alexander Monday night on Raw. It was great. I mean, it was great. He comes off so natural in that role, and his work has been real good too. He's evolved from, hey, I'm a little bit older now. I'm not going to do all the things that I used to do, but my psychology and my storytelling has reached a different level. It's at a higher level than my physical body is. So I'm going to use that knowledge that I have. And I'm hoping that Envy can bestow that on a guy who's uber athletic. He's not even super athletic. Apollo Crews is uber athletic. He's to the next level. And if he can get what Envy has up here, if he can get that in his mind, this guy can be next level.
I really think that's the reason MV is there right now, to make a difference, with these young guys. All the guys that, he's surrounding himself with, besides Bobby Lashley, is young guys that he's trying to actually, spit some game to. They say that the game is to be sold, not told. Mm-hmm. And right now, MVP, man, he's definitely spitting game, man, and teaching, schooling these young guys in so many different ways. And just to watch, like you say, his act as of late in his second act has been, I wouldn't say leaps and bounds better than his first act, but it's pretty close. You know what I mean? Even though he was younger, even though he could go out there and, perform, perhaps a little bit differently because he was younger. But like you say, that maturity and that knowing that what the test is and knowing how to go out there and pass that test, MVP is definitely, I don't know how he feels about it, but I feel like he's passed every test as of late they've thrown at him. I actually called him, actually texted him and said, man, you're doing an awesome job. And, he said, man, appreciate it. And I'm like, man, just keep doing what you're doing right now. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm loving seeing what he's doing. And I'm just wondering how this match is going to turn out more than anything, because like I say, this is more so a test for Apollo than anything. Like I say, making it to pay-per-view in a match of this magnitude is huge. So I hope he go out there and deliver and knock out a home run.
And you know what? I have every confidence in the world that they can. And like you said with MV, even here's the thing is you've seen everything in this business, right? And I've been now around 8 years. I've seen a lot. And one of the things where when something is good is if you pop the boys. Like I know when I'm on commentary, a lot of times if I can get the boys to come up to me afterwards and say, hey man, I really like that line, or oh, that was some good stuff. Yeah. Or Kevin, the director, says, oh man, you had me rolling. You know that you're doing something right. And I will say that Envy has been popping me watching some of these promos, because I think he called Lana a thought the other day on TV. He told her to shut up, thought. And I was dying laughing. I was like, I need a GIF of that so I can tweet that to people. Because and still to know how to connect to today's audience, because there's a lot of young people who watch the show, and for Envy to know even something as silly as saying, shut up, thought, that's going to resonate with a younger generation of people. And Envy, like I said, man, I you know you don't want to say leaps and bounds. I said this is the best work that he's done maybe in his entire career. I bought fully into it.
Yeah. Like I say, I'm behind him 100%. You're talking about cinematic matches. You was talking about the swamp fight. That's definitely gonna have to be cinematic. It's definitely they're in the right place down there in Florida. They got Gator World. They can go over there and do it and make this thing look real good. I could see actually on the it's so ironic. It's so ironic on the 2K20. It's a swamp Bray Wyatt character.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully, this will be something that he can incorporate into his swamp fight. I don't know what this thing's gonna be like, but there again, this is the perfect time to give the fans that ultimate movie that they're going to be looking for. The Boneyard match. Of course, everybody's going to always wonder, man, who's going to top it, how they're going to top it, and when they're going to top it. But I think keep throwing, wood on the fire, man, to see exactly, where you can go with it, especially at this time of where we are, just in life. I think you got to be able to experiment. You got to be able to throw stuff against the wall and see exactly what stick. And I see something like this swamp match being something very, very special because you got Bray Wyatt, you got Braun Strowman, you got two monsters there. You got it in the swamp. I could actually see a ring elevated over the swamp.
Oh, I like that.
And they actually come out of the swamp into the ring. Oh my God. You know what I mean?
That.
You know what I mean? You got shots of alligators over here. You got the big snapping turtles over here. You got all kind of stuff going on, man. So I think, like I say there again, this is a perfect time to pull off something special from a cinematic standpoint. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we got.
Yeah, I mean, I always love these cinematic things, and the Boneyard match definitely set the bar super high for anybody to try to obtain what they did. But Bray Wyatt, I wasn't big on the match that he and Cena had at WrestleMania. Like, it wasn't my favorite. I know a lot of people loved everything that was in that match/segment. It wasn't my favorite, but I think the swamp match, that's something that Bray Wyatt could literally, sink his teeth into and bring us on a story with him and Bray. I like it being over. Maybe you win by dumping them into the swamp. Maybe the ring's over the swamp and you got to dump them into it, like the Buried Alive match. I don't know. There's
like I say, man, I see the ring elevated over somewhere.
I like that idea. I really like that.
I mean, that right there. I mean, just that scenery. For me, and the thing is, they can pull it off. They can pull it off.
Oh yeah,
they're in the perfect place to do it. So I'm looking forward to seeing exactly, what the hell is going to happen in this match right here. I see I got another super chat here.
Yeah, we got a couple here. First off, this is from a faithful baller. Wants to know, is Seth Rollins leaving the WWE? I don't think that's the case. I haven't read anything about that. Have you, Book?
Well, my thing is this. There, like I say, man, with Becky Lynch being at home, the brother gonna have to stay on the grind for a while. He's got to make stuff. He's got to make some money. And the thing is, not that he's broke or anything like that. I'm not going to sit here and say that this guy hadn't made some money over the past few years or anything like that. But what I'm saying is, a guy like Seth Rollins, with a baby on the way, this is a guy that's going to have to stay focused. It's a guy that's going to have to really stay, mentally ready. Here's a guy that's going to be looking at, like I used to say about MC Hammer. You used to tell MC Hammer, you need to turn it down. But I think this is a time where a guy like Seth Rollins is about to pump it up. So the guy, I don't see Seth Rollins leaving the company for any time soon. I see this guy being a lifer in the company. I see this guy retiring, with the WWE, as well as working a behind the scenes job after it's all over with as well. And I'm sure he's thinking about that right now with, his wrestling school being set up already. He's already thinking about, what's next. So I don't see Seth Rollins leaving WWE for a long time, perhaps even ever. So that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, he's a lifer.
We got to take a break. So guys, stick around. We got a whole lot more for you inside the Hall of Fame. Back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. We just rolling, man. What's up, man? I see you had frozen there for a second.
I did.
Drinking your a little soda or something, you know what I mean?
I did.
So I was like, man, let me carry this thing to this. But I handled it.
No, I know you got us. We did have another super chat. I think this might be is this our go home? Is this our last segment here, or do we have one more? I think this might be it.
This might be it. Yeah.
Yeah, this might be it. So we got to talk UFC, but there's one more question that actually came in. Aaron sent in a couple. Aaron C just wanted to ask, first off, if you give him a shout out real quick, Book.
Aaron, what's going on, dog? I appreciate you for stepping inside the Hall of Fame each and every week, man. We love you, bro. Just keep doing what you do.
Yeah, no, we're a big fan of Aaron, and he actually had a question for me. He said, and I'll ask you this too, Book, maybe from the commentary side. He said, Brad, question for you. Have you ever laughed during a match? There's been a couple times I can remember sitting reality wrestling, and there was we have a wrestler, Cameron Cole, and he was doing this new gimmick where, he was coming out with his like vape pen, right? And he was smoking it, and he would do a thing where he'd do a spot in a match, roll out, and, do the little vape and blow the smoke. And I just remember one, you've been there, I'm sure, where you just say something on commentary and you're like, did I just say that? That's kind of dumb what I just said. And I was in like the big commentary mode, and I said, oh, look, it's Cameron Cole. He's smoking that vape like he had a romantic encounter, or something like that. And my broadcast partner, Matt, looks at me like, what did you just say? And then it popped me, and I had to hit mute. I started crying. I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever said. Did you ever have a time on commentary or something where you said something and started laughing and you had to mute yourself?
I mean, working with Michael Cole, of course, remember one time I told him, when I had a dream about him when I woke up and he died. We laughed, like so much about that, that he laughed about it so much at the time, So, yeah, man, I've had plenty of moments, where, when a match is going on, it's come from a commentary's perspective, guys go out there and just blow a spot, and I just start laughing about it, So even though I know I'm not supposed to do that, that might be the reason why I'm not on commentary right now.
But sometimes it's hard. It's just hard. It's hard to keep a straight face. It's really hard, and especially when you're out there and you got a live mic. And sometimes, like I said, I know that I'm going to say something dumb at least one time during a show that I wish that I'm going to text Kevin afterwards and say, hey, can you cut that out? Because I didn't mean to say that, So it's going to happen. It's one of those things.
Hey, man, let's talk about it, man. UFC 251 coming up upon us this weekend. This Saturday, actually, coming from Yas Island in Abu Dhabi, you know what I mean? For a hobby. Yeah. I'm looking forward to this fight card, man. It's going to be definitely one to watch. But before we actually get to the main card or anything like that, the one fight that's been making news is Paige Van Zant versus Amanda Ribas. Paige Van Zant, man, she's calling it like it is. Paige say, look, the money, like Tiger Conway said, when my brother and I tried to go to Global Wrestling Federation in Dallas, Texas, Tiger Conway said, the money is gone. Ain't no use of going down there. We went anyway, the rest is history. But Paige Van Zant say, man, the money is not there. Paige Van Zant is saying that, man, she's worth a whole lot more. And right now she's at a fork in the road as far as demanding, what she want, as far as what her number is. I think she said her number right now is 46, 46, and 46. She said everybody know that. But she said you can add up all the money combined with her UFC fights, and it doesn't compare to the one appearance she made for Dancing with the Stars.
It's crazy. It's
That
crazy.
that says a whole lot right there. That says Dancing with the Stars paying buku money. And I got to try to get on there.
You should be on Dancing with the Stars. They've had a couple of the boys, right? Jericho's on there, Stacy Keibler. I think you would do great, actually.
I think that's going to be my next endeavor, man, to see if I can get me an agent to try to get me on Dancing with the Stars to get me some of this Paige Van Zandt money. Now, Paige Van Zandt, of course, she's had a couple of bumps. She's hit a couple of bumps in the road as far as her UFC career goes. And actually, she said, win or lose this fight, win, lose, or draw, she don't think it's going to do anything to her stock. She say one thing that she has to fall back on right now is the name Paige Van Zandt. Do you think Paige Van Zandt not winning and Paige Van Zandt winning, there will be a difference?
Well, I think when you win, your stock always goes up. I think that's kind of
let me rephrase that. Paige Van Zandt losing, do you think that's going to affect her stock any after this perhaps last fight in the UFC?
Will stock go down? No, I think it's going to stay about the same where it is right now. She goes out and has a spectacular knockout. Okay, boom, she's going to go up in the ranks, right? She's going to go up with the stock, but she goes out there and loses. I hate to say this, I'm kind of almost expecting her to lose anyway. And I don't think it's going to affect her all that much more, especially it's not going to affect her pay, apparently. I know this is the last fight of her UFC contract. So I'm sure she would like to win if she's thinking about re-signing with the UFC, but I believe her husband's with Bellator right now. So she's probably going to want to make the switch over there probably anyway, and maybe get paid a little bit bump, because Bellator always likes to pay for people who's got a little bit of a name, and Paige Van Zandt has a name, and let's be honest, she's not a bad person to look at when she's out there fighting. So you can put her on a poster and it might make some people buy a couple pay-per-views or tune into the show. So I see this as her swan song in the UFC. I kind of feel like this is it for her. And I don't know if she ever really fights again, to be honest with you. I think that if she says she's making more off Instagram and Dancing with the Stars, pursue that. Because getting punched for a living, if you're not getting paid what you deserve, that's not the way to go.
Definitely. I feel that way too. I don't know. Paige Van Zandt, she's had a pretty good career in the UFC for what it's worth. She's put herself on the map as far as being, one to look at. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anna Kournikova, she ain't win no championships, but she made all the money.
But we know her name.
We know all about Anna. But we got a couple of super chats, man. Let's get them before we catch up out of here.
Let's go back to Faithful Baller wants to know, why is WWE bringing back superstars like, I'm assuming, like Heath Slater, maybe for a one and done?
You know what? I think Heath Slater is going to be back. WWE right now is hiring people back from the furlough. It seems like they're in a position where they're able to actually, sustain. Losing a guy like Heath Slater, I think that's a huge loss. I think Heath Slater is a guy that if you got a team, you want a guy like Heath Slater on. And I say that because I know the guy. I know him personally. If I got a team, I know that's the one guy I'm going to want to make sure I secure a spot for. No matter when the end of the year and guys getting fired, a lot of guys getting fired, that's the one guy I'm going to want to make sure I keep around. So I see Heath Slater being around for the duration. I think Heath Slater's back.
And we talked about this the other day, but do you guys ever see CM Punk doing matches in WWE? If the money and the timing's right, I think that anything makes sense, right?
Hey, man, money and timing, right, yeah. But for me, as a promoter, like I said, just like Cam Newton, I'm gonna put, I need to put a guy on a tryout basis before I actually want to pay him, a whole lot of money. Me personally, I would want to see what CM Punk still got left in the tank before, I invest a huge chunk of money. Because that's just my thinking. I'm not saying that's what WWE would do. I'm not saying that's what AEW would do or anything like that. But I know me as a businessman, before I write the check, I want to see exactly what I'm getting. So show me some references. You know what I mean? That I'm serious, right?
I hear you.
You know what I mean? I got an electrician. You know what I mean? I want to see exactly what his work is. I want to see if I got a plumber coming to I want to see how long this guy been in business. I want to see, the reviews. I want to see everything about. So, and the thing is, CM Punk, he been out of the game. How long?
Since 2014, January 2014.
That's a long time. That's a long time to be sitting on the shelf. So, me personally, if CM Punk was to come back, and I would. Welcome seeing CM Punk back inside the square circle. But before I go and spend a whole lot of money on something, I got to know what I'm getting.
No, I mean, that makes sense to me. I think the Cam Newton example is interesting. It just depends, like you said, how much money for how much work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Exactly what you're bringing to the table as well. I need to know exactly, what you are bringing to the table in order for me to actually be able to, take care of my business. You know what I mean? It ain't just about your business. It's about my business. And it ain't about just your stock going up. It's about my stock going up. You know what I mean? And if my stock go up right, we can talk.
No, I feel that. But I think that Punk's a guy who, like I said, even if it's for one match, we can make some money. We can make this happen. We can rebuild him.
One match ain't gonna do nothing for me. I need a 1 year run. I'm talking about when you go on several shows. With certain part-time guys like Brock Lesnar. I understand. Part-time guy like John Cena right now at this stage of his career. John Cena's not a guy that has left or anything like that. He's taking a hiatus.
Mm-hmm.
But John Cena still feel like he's a part of the business.
Right.
So when John Cena come back, you don't have to wonder what John Cena's going to bring to the table. It's got a hefty commercial every day. I see his face on something. It's Empyrean, you know what I mean? Whatever, you know what I mean? It's Experian, yeah.
Yeah, Experian, the credit company.
Yeah, exactly. So this guy, everybody know what this guy is doing. But when the one thing I talk about all the time, and you can attest to it, out of sight, out of mind, time off is one's worst enemy in this game. So we're gonna time will tell if we see CM Punk back in the ring. But that's gonna be all on him, man, more importantly than anything. And there again, I'm sure, one of these companies would love to see CM Punk, on their roster.
Absolutely. But before we get out of here, I do have to ask you, who you got in the main event? 251, Masvidal Usman, welterweight championship. The people want to know, who does Booker T got?
Well, right now, man, all the pros, they're picking, Kamaru Usman. The betting odds right now are in Kamaru Usman's favor. I think having to lose 22 pounds in 1 week, less than a week. Mm-hmm. I don't know about about you guys out there that's listening or anything like that, but it's hard for me to lose 10 pounds and still be strong. I can lose 10 pounds in a week. And all I have to do is not eat anything. Now, I'm sure when I come to the fight, my energy level is going to be depleted. I'm sure I'm not going to be the same fighter that I was or could have been if I would have had, 6 weeks, 8 weeks to actually pull something off like that.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the biggest problem for Jorge Masvidal is that weight cut in 6 days and I give the edge to Kamaru Usman. But if the BMF champion Jorge Masvidal can go out there and pull this thing off, that will make him a legend of the sport in 2020. I must say that.
All right, real quick, last thing. I know we're short on time. Faithful Baller wants to know: do you think Brian Pillman will be in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, man. Brian Pillman, I think, is a guy that will be in the Hall of Fame one day. Even though, he wasn't, one of my favorite people back in the day. I wanted to fight him. I wanted to get Brian Pillman in a fight. I know he got a son out there running around on the independent scene. Maybe I could pick it up with him. But no, Brian Pillman, definitely a Hall of Famer, and hopefully we'll see Brian Pillman inside the WWE Hall of Fame one day. Hey guys, we got to get up out of here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. We'll be back same place, same time next Monday night. So guys, tune in. Brad, I appreciate you as always. We doing it. But right now, we up out this mug, and I'll see y'all later.